I'm in Greece today with my family on vacation, and I was struck by talking to many of the Greek people that we met during our walks around to the Acropolis and to the historic sites here. So I thought it would be wonderful if I were able to get a couple of Greek people that we've met to come up and talk to our customers about what life is in Greece now that we're going through this crisis.
I actually voted no. To me, it was never about an issue of staying in the Eurozone or not. It was about accepting the measures or not. But in the end, it was more about maybe like voting for the government again, in a way. Because I think what they actually wanted to do was not really, the government. They actually wanted to ask for a vote for trust from the people.
Oh, I voted yes.
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 Okay.
I wanted to stay in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to stay in the Euro because I thought that if Greece stayed by itself, we wouldn't be able to sustain ourselves.
You've sustained yourself for 5,000 years.
Yeah.
As Greece. Why is it so important to be in Europe?
I thought that being part of a group like Europe would help us. We have no money, right? We are in such huge debt that if we state that we have too many enemies from outside, but we have too many enemies from the inside anyway. To be honest, I thought that it was a no-brainer. Whether we voted yes or whether we voted no, we were doomed, as I see that we are anyway.
Personally, for me, I don't think so. If I think about it from the tourism perspective, let's say.
Right, that's the business you're in.
Yes, if we had the drachma, it would have been everything would have been cheaper. So it would have been better for tourism.
Right.
And I think at the same time, it would be better for Greeks as well, because before the euro, everything was cheaper, like 3 times or even 4 times cheaper than it is now. Even though with the inflation and everything, prices would have gone up, probably, not so much. Well, I always say, we ourselves wonder about this. We don't know what happened. It's not like we really got something out of this. Probably the government's used this money to make things better in Greece, but I think everyone is wondering, why are we actually paying for this? What is this really about? And the average Greek wouldn't know why we borrowed the money, for instance. I would say it's because the previous government's fault, mostly, but of course people voted for them. And they knew who these people were, and they kept voting for them over and over again. Because for the past 40 years, we've had 2 parties ruling Greece. One would be New Democracy, and the other one was PASOK. And they kept ruling Greece in rotation, and they would steal money. People would know about this, and they would steal
literally steal money?
Yes.
Like in corruption?
Yeah, there was a lot of corruption. A lot of it. And people would hear about this all the time, and they kept voting for them because they were crazy about those 2 parties. And at the same time, it would be the same people who just wanted to, let's say, get a job, for instance, for their sons and daughters, and if someone, a politician, offered them something like that, if they promised something, they would vote for them. So that's how people voted, more or less.
They promise you a dream. But it's not a realistic dream. It's kind of a promise of that you can have everything, but at some point it all catches up with you, and then it's too late because you don't have the money to pay it back. You're living on borrowed time, basically. We are not taught from a young age how to manage our money. So you are not taught how to, how do you deal with the economics in your house, so then to know what's going on in the society, so that you know what you're demanding, what is going on in the country. So if you're starting from your own personal life and you're messing up in your own personal life, it's typical that you're going to mess up in the country as a whole because it extends. I think they were unbusinesslike and unfair, but that doesn't mean that we weren't responsible for having accepted them in the first place. But then again, we could have negotiated better. Most of the money that we've paid has been to the banks.
Yes.
Right? So I said, if we paid most of our debt back to the banks and we haven't actually paid any of our real debt, what's the point of all this austerity that we've been through for the past 5 years? I mean, I could never believe that a country like Greece can go and stand up against all these Germany or France or all these, capitalist powers. There's absolutely no way. But I'm glad that at the end of the day, they did. And that all of this was uncovered. The fact that we have no real power at the end of the day to make our own decisions. And that people know that now. That we are really in the hands of somebody else.